Thank you, Ambassador Sands and American colleagues, for allowing us to be here today. På vegne af den kanadiske ambassade vil vi gerne takke jer for at markere Copenhagen Pride Week sammen med os i dag. Vores ambassade ligger ved Kongens Nytorv, og igennem hele ugen mærker vi, hvordan Pride bringer endnu mere energi og flere festligheder til København. As if Copenhagen didn't need more, enough of that out here. Så vi er stolte af at være medværter ved denne reception og støtter fejringen af Pride Week. The equality rights of LGBTQ2 and intersex persons are a fundamental aspect of Canadian society and our foreign policy. In 2005, Canada became the fourth country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. LGBTQ2 spouses in Canada have access to the same benefits as heterosexual spouses. LGBTQ2 Canadians are treated equally to heterosexual persons with regard to adoption and have equal access to assisted human reproductive technologies. Internationally, Canada's commitment to promoting the rights of LGBTI persons in the United Nations Human Rights Council has led us to co-sponsor 3 resolutions on sexual orientation and gender identity since 2011. So I'm also doing what ambassadors do, telling you all about. Hopefully this is a bit more interesting. Last week, you may have seen photos of Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau marching in the 40th annual Pride Parade in Vancouver, British Columbia. His participation in Vancouver kicked off the Global Equal Rights Coalition Conference that brought together participants from governments, civil society organizations, and multilateral agencies from 80 countries to promote the rights of LGBTI around the world. Canada, along with Chile, as Ambassador Sands mentioned, is currently the co-chair of the coalition. The coalition is the first ever intergovernmental coalition dedicated to the protection of the rights of LGBTI people around the world. And at this conference, it was a pleasure for Canada to welcome Denmark for the first time and to congratulate you for joining the coalition earlier this year. Prime Minister Trudeau's participation in Vancouver didn't stop there, though. Last I saw, he was in Fredericton, New Brunswick, which is on the opposite side of Canada, in the Pride Parade there. And this demonstrates that not only does he really know how to get around, likely has way more energy than the bureaucracy can handle over the long term, but that he is truly setting an agenda on this file for the Government of Canada. For example, in November 2017, the Government of Canada issued a formal apology for past federal legislation, policies, and practices that facilitated systemic discrimination against and persecution of LGBTI persons in Canada. And the Government of Canada has set aside up to $100 million to compensate several thousand people, former public servants and members of the armed forces, who were investigated, sanctioned, and sometimes fired from the period 1955 to 1996 because of their sexual orientation. Looking ahead, Canada will be acting upon the commitments that were announced at the Equal Rights Coalition Conference last week. Canada will continue to raise LGBTI rights in meetings with world leaders and also through our feminist international assistance policy, where Canada seeks to address the challenges that LGBTI communities face in developing countries. Additionally, Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Chrystia Freeland, recently committed us to targeted, proactive outreach and meaningful engagement with LGBTI persons and their representative organizations around the world. And that's one of the reasons, among many, that we're here with you today. Additionally, she announced that through our Peace and Stabilization Operations Program, which operates in failed and fragile states, Canada will launch a call for project concepts with funding of up to $1 million to address LGBTI rights during violent conflict. And I would also note that right now, Canada's Minister of International Trade Diversification, Jim Carr, is currently in Philadelphia, leading the first LGBTQ2 business delegation to the United States. So let me conclude by saying that the Government of Canada will continue raising human rights concerns around the world, and that includes Canada's commitment to further supporting the rights of the LGBTI community. And today we're pleased to do so in partnership with our American, Australian, and British colleagues. And we also know that in Denmark we have a great like-minded partner, so I'm looking forward to learning more from you how we can work more closely with you on this. Thank you, and have a safe and happy Pride.